The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I am, of course, your host, Benjamin Dixon. It is, what's today, folks? It's Thursday, the last day of November 2017. We are almost at the end of the year, almost to 2018. A lot to talk about tonight. Well, two topics that I want to talk about, and I think they're going to be pretty lengthy topics. Hello to everyone in the chat room. Sharon, hello. Ferdinand, hello. Thanks for joining us. All the people joining us in YouTube, Facebook. We can read your comments everywhere, Facebook, YouTube, and or Twitter. If you want to weigh in on the discussion, you can also call in 857-600-0518 to weigh in on the discussion. I want to talk about this tax bill that I've talked about every night. I know maybe you're tired of me talking about it, but we have to talk about it. We have to continue to talk about it as the Republican Party attempts to get it passed tonight. They are literally trying to shove it down our throats tonight. And this bill represents one of the largest, the biggest. This is going to make the effects of Obamacare look like nothing in terms of how big a piece of legislation this is and how many people are affected by this piece of legislation, how much of our economy is affected by this piece of legislation. And yet the Republicans have only given the American people not even a full month. They haven't even given other congressmen a full month to go through this piece of legislation. And yet they're going to ram it down our throats because it does everything that they want it to do for their donors. John McCain came out today and he excitedly supported it and said that he has to support it, even though everyone has concerns about it, that he believes that it's going to be a net positive for our economy. And that's bull. That's crap. I'm trying not to curse, but that's fundamentally untrue based on the CBO score, based on the Joint Committee on Taxation, their estimates. They haven't come out with their official document yet. And yet, despite all of the evidence to the contrary, despite actual evidence. See, on one side of the ledger, we have actual evidence saying that this legislation is going to hurt America. And then the other side of the ledger is just this religious-like belief by Republicans saying it's going to help the middle class. And I don't know what to do with that, right? I don't know what to do with that because it fundamentally means that we're dealing with people who, I mean, to be honest with you, actually, it's rather easy. Now that I think about it, it's rather easy because it puts us in the same exact situation. Okay. Just reading some comments in the comment section. It puts us in a very bad situation, particularly as it pertains to dealing with people who don't believe evidence on anything. They do not believe the evidence on anything. And they are allowed to have equal representation and voice in this American system. And not only do they have equal representation and voice, but they have a large electorate of people who very excitedly don't agree with evidence and choose not to work in the realm of evidence. And so here we are. We're fighting. We're literally fighting against people who can see on paper the evidence, the data that says that this bill is going to hurt people, and they make it a statement of faith, saying, "No, I really believe that this is going to help the economy." And what's worse than just the politicians doing that, who I understand they would do it because they lie all the time, their supporters who are going to be hurt by this bill are saying the same damn thing. Now, before I keep going too far, I want to check with the chat room. A couple of things. Make sure that you guys are able, if anyone is having problems with the signal, let me know now before we get too far into the show. I see one person mentioning that they may be having a problem with the signal. And then I see, but I don't see anyone else complaining. So I want to make sure that, because one of the other things we're going to go over tonight is this mess from Ben Shapiro. So I want to make sure that you have a good signal for that. And
everything from affirmative action to federal transfer payments to low-income minorities.
What's up with that guy's voice? Can you hear his voice?
It's used as a scapegoat for elevated levels of black crime.
Blah, blah, blah. It's Ben Shapiro's voice. First of all, it's something. It's a force to be laughed at, I assume. But anyway, I just want to give you guys time for that delay so I can hear back from you to make sure that you can see what's going on. Good audio here. Everyone's good. Okay, great. So I love N. N said, a little choppy, but I watch for the voice, not the image. Well, I've got the face for radio. So there you go. All right, let's get back to taxes. We're dealing with a group of people, Republican leaders, politicians, who are going to lie just like any other politician. So I'm not surprised that John McCain, and, a person that close to death, I wouldn't, for a person, I think John McCain claims to be a believer in hell and heaven and Christianity and all that stuff. I wouldn't be lying like this, this close to death. But he's lying to America. And the fact that politicians are lying, that's no big deal. That's what happens. That's number one. But number two, it's the people, man. The people who are going to be hurt the most by this. They are parroting. They are regurgitating these talking points, and it's going to hurt them. It's going to take money out of their account. It's going to put money into the hands of billionaires. It is the reverse Robin Hood. And I don't even know what to do at this point, because you have people. You know what I realized? There's almost absolutely no point. The only thing that we can honestly do is beat these people, because conservatism is the perfect ideology to brainwash people. It's the perfect ideology to make people acquiesce and become just cogs in a machine. If you want an ideology that will never challenge authority, that's conservatism. If you want an ideology that's going to be okay no matter, just it's nothing wrong with the system around us. The only thing wrong is something wrong with you. That's conservatism. And so all these people are like mindless, brainless zombies willfully serving their billionaire masters. They love their masters. They love their corporate overlords. They love this consumerism system, this consumerist system where they're every day they work. They brag about how hard they work and how much they don't have at the end of the year. They're happy to do that because they wouldn't dare want to try anything else because they love this system so much. That's what conservatism does to your brain. And I'm sorry, I'd much rather be in a subversive system, with a subversive mindset. I'd much rather have a subversive mindset when it comes down to this. All right. Thanks for the heads up. I have no idea why that did that, but it should be back good at this point. But so I have to repeat that because if you guys if you guys got all echo on that part, it's critical that I repeat that. Number one, conservatism is the perfect ideology to make people submit to power and to authority. There's no ideology that's better than conservatism because it forces you. It makes you look only at yourself. You and you alone are the reason that there's a problem. There's not the system. Never question the system. It's you. You didn't work hard enough. You didn't study the right program. Oh, you didn't grow up in a two-parent home. Everything becomes you and never allows you to look at the system. And so we have an entire portion of this electorate who looks at this system that is robbing them, that is taking money from them, that is stealing benefits from them in order to give tax breaks to the rich, and they are happy about it. That's when I realized that, I realized that there's almost nothing we can do. Nothing There's almost nothing that we can do to fight back against this because we're at a point where conservatism has so successfully brainwashed and turned an entire half of our voting electorate into mindless zombies who will never challenge the system, and they will attack you for even thinking about making the system that we live in better. As a matter of fact, they don't even believe it's a system. You know, we're dealing with people who honestly believe that this is just where we are right now is a natural evolution of humanity, and that this wasn't an intentional destination by oligarchs and corporatists and robber barons in the past. They really believe that where we are right now is just the natural. I mean, they don't even believe in evolution for real, but in terms of this economic system and this political system that we have, they believe that this was a natural evolution. So there's nothing that we could do about it because there's no such thing as the system. It's just here. And that's what conservatism does to your brain, man. That's what conservatism does to you. And that is what we're fighting against. And that's why Republicans can look at their constituents in the face and say, despite all the evidence to the contrary, despite all of this that's happening, the previous times that we've tried this, despite the fact that we tried this with Bush, despite the fact that we tried this in the Gilded Age, and we saw the results. And every time we do this, we see the results. Despite all that, we really want you to believe, conservatives, that this time it's going to work, and that these tax breaks that we're going to give to the richest people in America is going to help you poor people and you lower middle class people. That's how they're able to pull it off, because their followers don't question anything they say. The conservatives never question what Republicans say. And you can tell me that there's a handful of Democrats who do the same thing. I would agree, right? But the vast majority of us out here on the left, we're hammering the Democrats every single day. We hold them accountable every chance we get. But this entire framework, this entire machine of conservative media, all it's there to do is to dumb down their audience so that they will accept anything that the Republican Party gives them, and that they will never, ever, ever question the system around them. Case in point, Roy Moore, Donald Trump, these type of people. Now they're willing to compromise what they've been preaching all of these years, because the most important thing to them is that they elect Roy Moore, and that they're willing to elect a pedophile. And they literally are writing articles in the Federalist that says, even if Roy Moore molested my child, yeah, I'd kick him in the nuts, but I still vote for him. You have to be brainwashed doesn't actually encapsulate the feelings and the sentiment that are imbued into this statement, right? Brainwashed is not enough, but you have to be one brainless automaton worshiping a system that assaults you every day, that drains the life out of you every single day. You have to be some type of brainless automaton to be able to look at people who tell you that it's better for you to vote for a pedophile than it is to vote for somebody else or not vote at all. And these are the people who have about 50% of the voting power in the United States. And I'm not going to punch left too hard, but I want to break it down. They are legion. They are many. They are properly propagandized. They have been propagandized for at least 30 years, at least since Ronald Reagan. They have been propagandized so efficiently that it is a machine that has turned on itself, that if any Republican rises to the top that's going to challenge them and try to make them think outside of this conservative paradigm, then the voters, the Republican conservative voters, will turn on them. Look at how they turned on every one of the Republicans in the primaries, and then they elected Trump. That's because the propaganda machine turned on itself. And now the politicians and the propagandists who created this machine, they no longer can, they have no ability to lead it. The machine is leading itself. It's a monster. It's a Frankenstein leading itself. And here we are with half of the voting electorate moving in a solid block, moving in a solid block with that type of mentality. Sure, they have divisions. Sure, they have, but they have divisions. But when it comes down to policy, they are not divided on this tax policy. The only place that they even may remotely be divided is it giving enough away? Is it doing enough for big businesses? Is it doing enough for pass-through and corporate LLCs? Or is it doing enough to help the rich? That's really the only way they are divided on this issue. So you have that on the right, which is over here. And then on the left, you have us divided in so many segments, chopped up all over the place. And some of us are not even paying attention to what they're doing over there on the right. Some of us are not even paying attention to what they're doing on the right because we're so focused on the fight on the inside of the left. And this is how we're here. This is a turning point. I don't want to sound so dramatic, but I don't think I could be dramatic enough. We are literally at a turning point in American history the things that are being done right now are going to reverberate through American history for at least the next 40 years. For the rest of most of our lives, if you're over 30, 40 years, considering the way they're going to do the environment, none of us may make it through the changes of this Republican Party. And yet we still have people on the left, some friends of mine who aren't even concerned. They're more concerned about correcting the Democratic Party. And I'm like, okay, the Democratic Party needs to be corrected, but can we stop this mad dash to Mad Max? I mean, can we stop the Republicans from taking Medicare, from robbing Medicare in order to give tax breaks to the richest people? Can we pause for a freaking minute and do what's necessary to keep us from bleeding out? Economically, environmentally, socially, issue after issue. And while you have this brain dead, it's like, what's that meme that you have? Normal brain, genius brain, galaxy brain. And it's like, if you go lower than normal brain, you have conservatives down there in the brain dead, brainwashed area. And I'm not saying this to make fun of them. I'm saying this to say, have you listened to these people? Have you listened to their conversations? Have you listened to their rationale? Have you listened to them explain why it's okay for you to vote for a pedophile and support a pedophile? Have you listened to them explain why it's okay while they're glad to give up, Medicare in order for them to get for freedom, for lower taxes and freedom? Have you listened to their rationale, or have you seen the rest of them who just plug their ears and say, nah, boo, I don't want to even hear? They literally are lower than a normal brain, not to say that they're stupid, but to say that they're brain dead. Right? So if you put that on the meme where you have a normal brain, a galaxy brain, and infinity brain and all that, you have half of America under the control of brain dead propaganda, and the solution to it, which is the left of the Democrat, further left than the Democratic, but the radical left, we're out here with galaxy brains and getting our political and policy asses beat by brain dead conservatives who have been propagandized for a generation and are willing to give up their money in order to support billionaires. I mean, holy shit. This is really the situation. We've got some of the, and it's not that they're ignorant, it's that they are 100% propagandized. They're living in their echo chamber. They're living in their hermetically sealed bubble, and they can never see, they never can accept the reality that they have been propagandized so efficiently, and so they would do anything and everything to reject all of this information that tells you that
87 million Americans will see their taxes go up in 2023 because of this bill. If you make less than $75,000 a year, your taxes are going to go up, but they block out that information because if they let that one piece of information creep in, it's going to blow away their entire paradigm. They may die from an aneurysm, an information overload, finally like, cannot compute, and they just explode because all of their life, they've been, at least the 40 years of their life, they've been propagandized so efficiently. And you have people out here like children covering up their ears, not facing the reality of what this damn tax bill is going to do to them. Meanwhile, all of the smart people over here on the left, all of the most brilliant people over here on the left are still interested in correcting the Democratic Party. But guess who's running the I can't even say the words I want to say. Guess who's running the country? Guess who's making policy today? I mean, you're getting ready to have policy made by a pedophile because we can't even stop him from getting to the Senate. I'm sorry. It's crazy, man. It is so crazy. And part of me is like, man, I'm just going fishing. I'm going to take a break and go fishing. I'm going to chill because, and it's not just the left. It's not just the radical left that is lost their freaking minds. Oh, God, I wish I can cuss the way I want to, but I can't. I promised people I would do better. I promised folks that I would do better. I'm going to do better. I promise. It's not just the radical left that is twiddling their thumbs as Rome burns. But it's also the Democratic Party, clearly. I mean, you look at the little hit from Joyanne Reed trying to hit Bernie Sanders. It's still, if the shoe doesn't fit, I'm not talking to you. But I have to say it like this. You people are so stupid. You guys are so goddamn stupid. I'm sorry, I failed. I messed up. Fuck, it's over. You people are so stupid as to be fighting internally over pettiness while the country is being reshaped before our eyes, not just economically, but judicially. The justice system, the courts are being packed. Not the courts, the judiciary. Finally, I got the word. The judiciary, it's being packed by conservatives, and every issue from social justice to criminal justice to Black Lives Matter to marriage equality to a woman's right to choose, every social issue that matters to us is going to be fundamentally reformed. I don't even want to use that word. Fundamentally transformed over the next generation because of what is happening right now. And yet we are still fighting over Bernie versus Hillary. And Joyanne Reed said something that was stupid as shit. You know what I mean? It was stupid, but at the same time, it becomes the high point of the day. This is what we're going to focus on as leftists. And all of these smart people on the left, all these people who are way smarter than me, not for real, but all these people who are way smarter than me, they are losing to people with the political acumen of a sloth. I don't want a lot for Christmas. There's just one thing I hate. Somebody said Ben New Year's resolution for Ben, cuss more. I'm trying not to. I'm trying, but it's so hard when you run into situations like this where people, I mean, can I just demonstrate it one more time? The smartest people in the room are losing to the dumbest people in the room, period. It's the ye old city slicker motif. And really, actually, it's not even that, because even with the city slicker meme, you have the country person, the country bumpkin is actually a very intelligent person. He just plays dumb. No, these motherfuckers are dumb for real. And so it's not even the city slicker meme. It is the smartest people in the room are losing to the dumbest people in the room. And our lives, we're not just losing a game. Our lives are going to be shaped and transformed, and the parameters of our life, the how far we can go on certain issues, it's underneath the control of people who think Donald Trump is an intellectual. I want to scream. I want to scream, but I've been training myself over the last, most of my adult life to control my rage and control my anger. Like I am the angry black person. I am the angry black man. Trust me. I have plenty of tables that I have flipped over in my mind, but I won't flip them over in real life because people get scared. I want to scream to that level because we're losing to morons. Our country is being run by morons, and the smartest people in the fucking room are fighting each other over shit that is completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Tell me one thing that we are fighting about on the left that is relevant to the long-term implications of what the Republican Party is doing to us right now. They are giving us the shaft, lubrication free, and we are going to be stuck with the disease they leave us for at least 40 years. Umar in the chat room says, seriously, Ben, are you that surprised? I have to, let me pause for a second. Am I really that surprised? Not surprised, but still disappointed. Not even disappointed. I am exasperated. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted with the actual fight, not the next fight. I have a next fight coming for me, which is I'm a little in and out here with the show sometimes and stuff, but I'm working on something else for me to do because there's plenty of fight left in me, but there's not a lot of fight left in me for the petty stuff. There's not a lot of fight left in me for the grandstanding on social media. There's not a lot of fight left in me for the trivial, when we honestly have our country being transformed right before our eyes by the local jokels, by the people. And this is okay. I mean, again, I don't want to sound like I'm trying to be condescending, but when you look at the totality of the propagandization, if you look at the effectiveness, they are completely submissive people. Conservatives are the only way you can honestly believe this bill is going to help you out is if you're so brainwashed that you may as well be brain dead. Tweet that. That's the phrase. Well, I can't even repeat it because I'm tired. I thought I could repeat it. I probably can, but I'm tired. So we never had an opportunity. Here's why we never had the opportunity. And this part, Umar, is why I am not surprised. The reason I'm not surprised is because there's too much economic value in the left fighting itself. And for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to start saying the left from now on. Sure, no, the Democrats are not the true left. But the Republicans are so far right with what they're doing. I mean, shit. So anyway, there's too many coins, too much money, too many clicks, too many job opportunities for people to perpetuate this divide on the left, even in the midst of all that's going on, in the midst of all the stuff that's happening right before our eyes. I mean, we should have known when Donald Trump won anyway, despite the grab him by the pussy video. I should have known there and accepted that it was over for our little democratic experiment. But Roy Moore, if Roy Moore wins on December 12th, I would say we should go ahead and bid adieu to this democratic experiment that we have here in the United States. Because for you to be able to look at a pedophile and rationalize in your head that it's okay to vote for him and to support him means that you have been so successfully propagandized, or you are the person getting paid to do the propaganda. And then on the other side of the ledger, all of us brilliant people, which on the left, we have some really smart people. And I'm not saying that to be funny or condescending, tacitly condescending or anything. I'm just saying there are really a lot of smart motherfuckers on the side. And we are losing to people who don't realize that
pedophilia is bad enough for you not to vote for someone. So, question, Daniel Smeltzer from the chat room said, Ben, I was wondering if you saw or talked to Joyner Lucas's new song, I'm Not Racist. Oh, yeah, I think I saw it, but I have to confirm something because I don't really know who Joyner Lucas is for real. I just want to see real quick, Lucas. I just want to make sure, because some people are saying that he is a white guy. And that matters because I'm telling you, okay, I just looked him up. He looks like he's black. I don't care who he was. If he was that, if Joyner Lucas was that white guy with the Make America Great Again hat on, and he was dropping the N word that many times like that, he was gonna catch these hands. Whenever I met him in real life, I was looking for like, can Chance the Rapper or whoever, Kendrick Lamar, hell, go all the way back. Can the Wu-Tang Clan run up on old boy and like check him out and say, hey, I appreciate what you're trying to say, maybe, but you're gonna watch your mouth. I'm sorry. It's just good, but because I really don't know who Joyner Lucas was until now. I just looked him up. He looks like he's got enough melanin in him to get away with that. But that I was like, man, get the hell out of here. Let me read a couple more questions. Ben, I'd like to hear you talk more about substance. What can we do right now rather than chiding progressives? I mean, honestly, the only thing that we can do right now is two things: is storm and on the phone lines, storm your senators and your congresspeople all day, every day, and let them know that you are going to oppose them in a significant fashion. But then the B side is this: we should be organizing for 2018. Every race, every single race down. I don't care if it's a local commission seat. We need to be actively organizing and getting candidates ready, so finding those candidates, grooming those candidates, getting them out in the streets so that we can have a full-on flip in 2018, right? That's the only thing that we can do, because the die has been cast. The only way that this is going to fail, the only way this tax plan is going to fail, today they were talking, the Senate parliamentarian rejected the revenue trigger amendment, which created a problem for at least Bob Corker. And there's like one or two, if we could pick out one or two senators like Bob Corker, and I'm saying this as they're on the Senate floor right now, but if we can influence them with a hailstorm of calls and opposition, I mean, that matters, particularly people from those districts, from those states, right? We saw that happen and if a senator understands, well, I actually have to back up because Bob Corker is not running again. He's stepping down. And so we have to find the people who we can hold politically accountable, right? So that's the only thing that we can do right now. We can't rewrite history. We can't go back and fix the fact that Donald Trump was elected and now he's packing the courts. We have to ride this out, but we have to stop the hemorrhaging as quickly as possible. And so I don't care. I don't really care what candidate it is. I don't care. But 2018, I mean, 2018 is a good chance. If you're talking about a third party, then you're talking about some congressional seats. There are some congressional seats that don't require $2 or $3 million to run for. You know, if you are so into the Green Party and you never want to touch the Democratic Party again, then put all your power and might and money and influence into running for a congressional seat, or helping someone running for a congressional seat that's third party, right? Especially in some districts that are not necessarily threatened. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, if it's a possibility for us to flip that seat, I'm gonna be honest with you. If it's a possibility for us to flip that seat from Republican to Democrat, then we need to flip that seat from Republican to Democrat, if for no other reason than to stop Donald Trump's agenda. But now there's some other districts where you can get your feet wet, that you can run up against a Republican, that you can run up against, I don't care, an establishment Democrat. It might be a safe Democratic seat. It might be a safe Republican seat. But the point is that there were a lot of people who were surprised in the Virginia race. And we're talking about the federal level, but then also on the state level. We have to, every one of us have to do something, whether we're running individually, if we're helping a campaign, if we're organizing locally, grassroots. We honestly have to wake the people up. Here's the other thing that we practically can do.
that is, I don't know how practical it is, but it absolutely has to be done. And this is not to self-promote, because I don't even, well, I'm not gonna say that out loud, but this is not to self-promote, but we have to fight back against stupid. And I don't know if you understand how important that is. I was watching a video, I should play it, a video of two guys arguing about whether or not if you got in water, does that make you wet? And they were having like the realest argument about that. And I'm only, that example is kind of silly and funny, but it really leads into all these other stupid things. You got the rapper B.O.B. who doesn't believe in slavery because he can't see the slave ships. You got the reemergence of the flat earthers, right? And so that's like a whole realm of stupidity that that is important for us to confront, because that's like the next level of stupidity from the stupidity we see with conservatism. And I hope you can. I don't feel like I'm saying this efficiently or effectively enough, or connecting the dots enough, but I hope that you can see what I'm saying. Like there's a wave. We're moving towards idiocracy faster than the creators of the movie ever could have dreamed of. And it's not just because of Donald Trump, but it's really because of this. We're so smart on the left that we're not even able to reach people on the right. We're so smart over here that we're not able to reach people that are apolitical. We're so smart over here. We have all this information, but we're not able to even win against the dumbest people in the room. And so this is not about me chiding or trying to punch left. This is a really practical problem that we have, and we're losing. Not only are we losing to conservatives, we're losing to Democrats. We're losing. And yet we're the smartest people in the room. And the question is, I think we're just too smart for our own good, or we've gotten comfortable and happy in our circles of intellect, being the smart people in our circles of intellect, and not really doing anything outside of that. We're losing in media. We're losing in media more because they're billionaires who are willing to drop $2 or $3 million. It's no big deal to them. They're willing to drop that in conservative media, drop of a dime. I mean, for every one of my shows, you probably have 20 shows that are well funded and people are paid and they get to live luxuriously, or at least they only have to do one job and they can get some sleep. Right. While us on the left, we got a handful of them. I mean, I probably can name all of us who are at least on this YouTube space. So we're losing the competition in the marketplace of ideas. More people are politically inept, but they're organized by propaganda and they're winning. We're losing that. We're losing in this media space. And those are places that we have to start winning, man. If there's any chance, those are the places that we have to start winning. And that's why it becomes disappointing when we see this is the most disillusioning, blah, I'm making shit up now at this point. This is the hardest part to digest, is when you see that level of propagandized blindness. Not only in the Democratic Party, which we've seen with some of the Russia allegations, you see a level of propagandized blindness thanks to people like Rachel Maddow, but you also see it in the left. You see it in the left. You try to challenge people to come out of their bubble of only worrying about Republicans or only worrying about Democrats, and you see some of the same type of behavior patterns where people are stuck on the same talking points that they got in the primaries. So it's a holistic thing. We have to get active. We have to get into races. We have to help people run. We have to stem the tide. We have to hold back the tide in 2018. But we also have to start winning in the marketplace of ideas. And one of the reasons we're not winning in the marketplace of ideas is that our smartest people are talking to each other. They're not talking to conservatives. They're not talking to neoliberals. We're really just talking to ourselves. So
That's the practical thing. Let me read some. Ben, did you get a whole show discussion? Assange's. Yeah, I did a whole show. I've been watching. See the focus of issues. Trump has elected. My life. I've been arguing with Russiagate. Ring, Ben. Oh, I'm sorry. I cut off the lines because I think that's one of the problems we had with the delay. Sorry, I apologize. I can try to get the phone lines back up, but I didn't want to risk having a huge delay problem again. But what the hell? I've been talking the whole time. We'll give it a go. If you start seeing a huge delay and it's untenable, let me know, and we will cut the lines back off. So the phone lines are open, 857-600-0518. And oh, see, as soon as I cut them on, someone was here. Okay, caller, what is your name, comment, and or question? Nick, what's on your mind, Nick?
Not much. I just wanted to kind of reflect what you're saying. I think that just coming from what I'm doing right now, I think that analysis is very accurate, that there have been people in DSA who have felt like we're not doing enough of actual action, if we're not talking to enough people, and we're mostly just talking to ourselves. And there's a big discussion about how, Twitter has become less of an actual productive space for us. It's become more of a hindrance and not just not helpful to get doing anything really for anyone else besides ourselves, which is a real discussion to have.
Yeah, Nick, you're always spot on, man. You and I got to talk more. Hit me up in my DMs, because that's the perfect definition of what's happening on Twitter. Like, Twitter was and I'm sure it ebbs and flows, right? But Twitter was a great space where you can hear new voices, hear new ideas, and grow a community. And now those communities seem to have maxed out in size. Number one, the ideas have seemed to max out in terms of the breadth of the range of what we debate. And it looks more as though people want to use Twitter as a place to grandstand, to gather more followers unto themselves. And I just, I've definitely taken a step back on that, because I'm like, that's not what I was there for in the first place. But that is definitely a conversation that needs to be had. Say some more smart stuff for me.
All right. Well, I was going to say the other thing that I don't remember if this is specifically related to anything you were talking about in this show, but we were asking recently about what is the reason for progressiveness? Like, what is if there's going to be a label called progressiveness, like what do we actually ascribe to it? Mm-hmm. And I think that you've had a frustration over the last, however many months, that we seem to be caught, or not necessarily but there are definitely people who get caught in the discussion of like 2016 primary, like what about Democrats? What about neoliberalism? Yeah. And I think a good measure for us is to mark at what points are we gaining progress and at what points are we losing progress. And especially for that dynamic you're always talking about how we don't talk about how we're not going to have our bar be set any farther, but the bar is already going so far behind us that it doesn't really matter. And so we're being kind of opposite of what a progressive should be, which is to track and improve progress in all avenues that we're trying to make this world better. And while we don't want to necessarily go down that same road of, neoliberalism, that's important to note as we grow back. If we don't have those levels even close to where they are now, like, how are we ever going to discuss that? How are we being progressive? How is that actually, what action is being done to make those whatevers? Yeah. Maybe go farther.
Nick, I'm going to officially invite you on the air now. I want to invite you to sit in on a show with me, man. And we just chop it up sometime. I really appreciate it.
I totally will.
Yeah. So hit me up in my DMs and let's set it up. All right.
Will do. Peace.
All right. Awesome. 857-600-0518 to join in and weigh in. Nick, that was spot on. Let's take this caller, 367. You have a little bit of echo in the background, so if you don't mind cutting off your computer or your phone or wherever you're listening to, and give us your name, comment, and or question.
Hello, is it better?
Yep, this is you.
Yeah, hello. Hi, I'm calling from Hungary. I'm a frequent caller. This is my third time.
Yeah, man. What's going on, man? I definitely recognize your voice. What's up?
Yeah, I wanted to talk on maybe 2 points you talked about this Roy Moore and about conservatives betraying their original family values. In my opinion, I think this is one thing the left, in my opinion, they don't want to acknowledge, and I think you should speak on it more on your show. For me, it is more about cultural values these Republicans care about. In my opinion, if you preach economic purpose, if somebody like, let's say, a Bernie Sanders or let's say a good candidate that with no baggage preaches economics and everything, but she still supports mass legalization of immigrants, she still supports sanctuary cities, they won't vote for them. I'm telling you, because these people is cultural with them. For in their opinion, Roy Moore can be a pedophile, but is he going to vote against Black Lives Matter? Is he going to vote for judges that support harsher sentences on blacks? That's how these people see it. Look at polls. If polls find that Republicans tend to think that blacks are more lazier and are more or less deserving of benefits, they have this racial attitude. So it's not, you can preach economics to them Monday to Friday, in my opinion, but that racial, as long as you support sanctuary cities, look at what's going on Twitter right now at Kate Steinle. They're already politicizing her death. But what of all the black people that have been killed, Tammy Rice, Trayvon Martin, they donated to their killers. But now they are talking about Kate Steinle on Twitter. So this shows you, number one, in my opinion, some of these things is deeply rooted in cultural values. Some of them will never vote for you, in my opinion. No matter how much you preach to them, economic values, economic this, they won't vote for you. So I think we need to come to terms that a lot of this is deeply suited in cultural values, and progressives need to, in my opinion, they need to get real with that. And another thing I wanted to really touch on, I think I like that you called out the how Twitter has become a bad space of everyone attacking each side and everyone attacking each side. But let's also why I like you always hold accountability both on the Joran Reed side and both on the other far left side that you think has gone overboard. Benjamin, I remember before the election, you need to go watch this debate with Jimmy Dore and Sam Sida on his show. Sam Sida was literally begging this guy that this is the 5th Supreme Court seat. This could literally change the Supreme Court left for once in how many, I think 50 or 60 years. The Supreme Court has never been 5-4 liberal to conservative. That could change a whole lot of policies. Jimmy Dore was giving excuses after excuses why that doesn't matter, why it is more important for Hillary to lose and for there to be a revolution than for a for a Supreme Court judge that could stay 40 years. Gorsuch could stay 50, 40 years till he dies. And Jimmy Dore did not see that importance. And there are many people that think like him, and that is dangerous. Can you imagine if we had a liberal judge 5-4?
Oh my God!
Can you imagine how that could have changed America? So can you just touch on that? It will be that. And one more thing. What are your opinions?
I gotta write. Wait. You went past my ability to hold things in my head. This is the 4th thing, so I gotta write this one down. So the first one was cultural versus actual Christianity. The second one was go ahead.
Yes, the first one was cultural versus actual Christianity, and whether these economic values can appeal to these people who are deeply rooted in their cultural values. And I think number 2 was about the Supreme Court judges and the people that up till today, they still believe that Hillary losing was best for America, damn the Supreme Court, damn everything. And number 3, what's your opinion on caucuses? This is very important. I think there's going to be a unity commission meeting for the Democrats in some few months, and there are going to be some recommendations made. I think Nomeki Kons in particular has been pushing these caucuses, so I want you to give your own unbiased opinion. Do you think caucuses are more a representative of the democracy, and do you think caucuses are which is more undemocratic, caucuses or closed primaries? And if so, do you think, shouldn't it be fair that if you say super delegates should go, shouldn't caucuses also be eliminated? So please, Benjamin, touch on that.
I will. No, don't hang up yet. Don't hang up. Hang up, because I gotta ask a favor of you, and I hope that this doesn't offend you. But could you? I'm going to address each of these things, and this might actually be offensive, but I gotta ask you anyway. I love your voice, man. Can you just do for my audience, because we're in the chat room, they're talking about you sound like the Black Panther. Are you a fan of Avengers?
I've seen it once or twice. But I'm not really a fan, but
just do me a favor. This might be asking too much, and you could tell me later in my DMs. But just say, someone get that man a shield. Say that for me.
Someone get that man a shield.
Yeah, that's it. Don't trust me. You just made my audience very happy here because of Avengers Infinity Wars coming out. I'm going to do you a favor and address each of those things. Get this man a shield, my dude. Hey, listen, are you on Twitter? I think I ask you every time you call. Are you on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm a DM you my Twitter.
DM me your Twitter because I want to get you on as well, man. I want to start. You guys have some brilliant takes, so I want to get you on too, man. Thanks so much for the call.
All right. Thanks, man.
857-600-0518. We are live. I have Patrick on the line. Patrick, what's on your mind, man?
Hey, man, good to talk with you. First of all, you do myself for that Avengers line. But anyways, I want to say that I agree with everything you guys said tonight. I agree with Nick as well and what he said. But I do think we have to engage and take on the right. But I'm very concerned of what we say when we take on the right. Okay. Because Ben, I've come to a frustration point with us on the left conceding to the premises of the right. Yes. Yes. And taking on, and I think you were so right about that CNN debate. Although I love Berg, I think he did great in the primaries. There is this acquiescence we have to the arguments they put out there, and those arguments oftentimes are red herrings. Mm-hmm. And instead of just addressing or just, you know what, I'm not going to even accept the premise of your argument. Yes. And go our talking points, we try to fight them on their pseudo-ideological grounds. Yeah. And we continue to do that, I think we're going to lose. Right. And I think I was watching recently Saving Capitalism on Netflix with Robert Reich. Yep. And he said something which I want to kiss the TV about how we've been propagandized about how there's this free market that exists outside of government and regulation, and we don't touch it, it'll just work fine. And he went on, there is no such thing as the Republicans define it as free market. It only exists because of rules and regulations we put into place. And I promise you, that was the first time outside of a academic institution I heard that argument. Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, why did it take so long? I'm sure many folks already know that, but outside of economic courses, you don't hear that. You don't. I'm using that just as just one example. But even on this tax proposal, where we're talking about businesses going to invest back into America, it was not to, I think Maria Cantwell debunked that idea. Yes. About if they have more money, that they'll say that. Come on, man. Yes. And literally, that was the first time I heard that from any Democrat. Oh, even though I think you and I, we both know that, I'm trying to be honest and think. And I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of Morning Joe clips. I can't think of a single Democrat I've heard say, not even Bernie. Exactly. He said, well, no, I don't even have to talk. I think I heard Bernie say in an interview, he said, I believe business need to invest, but I think by dropping the corporate tax rate, that won't really push them to invest as much as we think. I'm like, as much as we think, just by saying that is acquiescing or giving into the premise of their argument. So yes, I agree with what you guys are saying, but it's how we engage. And I like to hear what you say. I'll take the call off air. Thanks so much, Patrick. Definitely, man. I think Patrick is one of our longest time. He's been a patron almost since like week 3 or something. He's been a patron forever, and definitely a huge supporter of the show. And I can see why, Patrick. Not to honk my horn, but just to see, because what you are saying right now today is exactly what I took my time. Like I took last night off and let Anoa do her show, and I just took it off, and I just went back to reading because I need more time. I need more study time. I don't have as much study time as I would like to have, because part of the job has to be to debunk, like deconstruct these arguments and lay them out bare for the nothingness that they really are.
Right? You hit on a couple of key ones, that there's no such thing as a free market. It's been created and regulated by the social contract we call a government from the beginning. And so for them to say the free market is fallacious at best, and it's actually intentional propaganda. That's number one. Then number two, that cutting taxes does not necessarily mean that corporations are going to hire more people. That in Maria Cantwell, this is why I was all on Maria Cantwell. And I get a lot of people were like, oh, she's a neoliberal. But I'm like, no, okay, shit, sure, okay, fine. But she's a neoliberal who just dissected the hell out of their argument. And the only thing she could have done better was to require that they answer her question. She didn't do that, but she did more than Bernie. And she did it by debunking the argument or deconstructing it right before their eyes, man. It's like a movie scene where a professional soldier just with his eyes closed just takes apart the entire gun and boom, in no time flat. And we have to be able to do that instead of arguing. The worst example of what Patrick was just talking about, where we accept the premise of their arguments and we try to argue within their framework, was Cenk Uygur versus Ben Shapiro at Politicon this year. I was yelling at the laptop. I'm like, number one, why are you answering all of his questions? Right? This was not the Ben Shapiro show where you have to answer his questions. So no, I don't know why the hell Cenk was doing that. Then number two, why are you not blowing the premises out of the water? That like just completely rejecting the premises of his arguments and his questions, right? And that was one of the most frustrating. I think the second most, if not equally as frustrating moment, was the first tax debate between Bernie Sanders and Ted Cruz, and I forgot who the wingmen were on that, or wingwoman was in that case. Absolutely. Let's take this last caller. Caller, you're live on the air. What is your name, comment, and or question?
Hey Ben, this is Brianna.
Hey Brianna, good to hear from you. What's on your mind?
I'm good. I don't know how much I can contribute because I agree with a lot of what the other callers have been saying. First of all, like this whole pettiness between them, like I already told you multiple times, I'm done. I'm exhausted at this point about it. Like, forget about the Joy and Reeves and all of them. They want to live in their bubble, let them live in their bubble. And we should, start engaging with, because we have like a whole population of the country who are not even registered to vote. Majority of the country didn't vote during the 2016 election. Right. We should get them engaged. Let's not worry about, the people who are still like with Trump and, with Roy Moore. Like, to me, they're already far gone. If you're with Roy Moore, that pedophile, and you're still with Trump, then I want nothing to do. I just ignore them. Like, I think they're far gone at this point. Like, they're so filled with propagandizing. Like, I just think it's too late for them. And also, on the left, I feel like we need to start taking the right seriously. I feel like many people on the left live in their own bubble, and we see them as a joke. Yeah. We see them as, but right now they're in charge. We have everyone, I remember back in 2015 saying, oh, Donald Trump is going to become the nominee. He became the nominee. Oh, Donald Trump ain't going to win. Yeah. Oh, he's in the White House right now. We got to stop chucking water balloons at these guys. I feel like we're chucking water balloons while they're shooting their AK-47s and the shotguns at us. When 2018 comes, like, we have to put the political hurt on the Republican Party. Like, we should start dropping nukes on them. Not literally, but politically. Just drop nukes on them during 2018. We got to do that. Put as much hurt as we can into the party so we can stop their agenda. Right. And I don't care if we have neoliberal Democrats. Yeah. I want them to win as much as I want the Democratic Socialists. Because even though...
Let me hold you there.
Even though they are neoliberal.
Yeah, okay. let me hold you there because you broke up for a second there. But also, I want to comment on something that you're saying. We got to take the right seriously. Nick, I believe, was the first caller. I believe Nick said this. I'm sure Nick said this. He said progressivism is a process, and you want to gradually make progress. Even if it's slow progress, you want to gradually move in a progressive direction. There's a very tangible thing that progressivism actually is, right? And think of it like a math term. Think of it like mathematics, right? If progressivism is addition, Neoliberalism might be, on some occasions, it could be a negative. Sometimes it might be multiplying by one and we make no change whatsoever. But for sure, conservatism in the United States of America is moving us in a negative direction. It is a negative. It's a subtraction from our positive progress. That's the most simplistic way I can put it in. There's no way you can call yourself a progressive. And I don't care about the naming, right? I don't care whether or not you have the right to identify as a progressive or not, but you are not a progressive in the sense of you are allowing negative motion. When you allow negative motion, you're not progressive. You're regressive, and not in the classical liberal sense. Those guys. Actually, I lied. I guess we got one more caller. Caller, you're live on the air. Name, comment, and/or question.
Ben, this is Daniel Goldman.
Daniel, what's on your mind?
Hey, man. So it's funny. You're gonna kill me for this. So I want to throw this idea at you for tomorrow, and I think the people listening might appreciate this because they know the content show, of course, right?
Yeah, they do. Jesus Christ, Daniel, what do you have?
You're probably worried about what I'm going to say.
I never have any idea what you're going to say, Daniel. Go for it.
All right. So here's what I was thinking. They got this big tax fight. It really pisses me off. You know that. Mm-hmm. And it occurred to me as we're profiling tomorrow because they pushed the vote back. I wanted to vote tonight. As we profile these people tomorrow, the question is, how bad of it would it be for us to take the pictures of the senators, that we're profiling, and put just on their chin, just put like balls. Just have each of the senators, Mitch McConnell with ball chin, right? John McCain with the ball chin. I don't know what to do with Susan Collins. I'm just throwing that out there, I'm going to leave it to you. I'm done.
To what end, Daniel? To what end?
To what end? I think it's hilarious. Oh, I'll leave that in your hands. I'm hanging up.
Bye, Daniel. That was our anyway, comic relief. 857-600-05. I don't have enough time to do the Ben Shapiro piece. I may do I like Sharon's idea, put their net worth. That's the idea. Daniel, if you're listening and didn't just call in, the idea is even if you put balls on their chin, which I'd be turned off by that personally because I'm a prude. I'm rather conservative in that way. But put their net worth on their foreheads. Put their net worth on their foreheads. And actually, even better than that, put on their foreheads how much they would save from this tax break. Somebody out there has done an analysis. We can get it and regurgitate it and put it on their foreheads. This is how much they're going to make off of this. That's actually something that is useful. And start with Donald Trump. Like he's clearly, I think the New York Times piece said he was going to save $1.25 billion. All right, I want to read a couple more questions and we get out of here. The debate was good, but okay. Put the net worth. Naive, adjective of person, of action showing. Oh, one last thing that Brianna said that I think is important, and it just came back to me. She was saying that they're already too far gone, talking about the people who would go and vote for Roy Moore. That actually says a lot to me personally, and this is what I mean by that, Brianna. We almost need to no longer even with the exception of just like for me doing my job, I have to report the news during the day. That's what Daniel just called in. I work with Daniel at Content News. You guys can check it out. You'll see it all over Facebook. We're on YouTube too, from 4 to 6 live, 4 to 5:30 live right now. We'll eventually be going to 4 to 6. Besides me having to do my job and report the news and report on the hypocrisy every day, there should be a definitive decision. There should be a collective decision by us as progressives, or at least me on my show, to aim our commentary towards recruiting new people. That's what I got. The last thing I got out of Brianna's call. I think there, and she said it, actually, she really said a lot. She was like, there's more than half of the voting population did not vote. And those are the people who we need to start recruiting. And we need to start reaching, and we need to start shaping our language to reach those people, which does mean that we're going to have to simplify our language here on the left, right? We're going to have to give them some entryway. We can't come in with a critical class analysis, a critique. We can't come with a Hegelian dialectic of over capitalism or Das Kapital. We can't start there. We have to shift our language and our approach to reach people instead of using all of our time to just pull our hair out about how stupid the other people are. I hear you loudly and clearly, and I think that's something that I need to process and see how I can incorporate that into my show as I continue to have to just cover the news, because part of my job is just covering the news, and there's a lot of stupid shit in the news right now. So setting that aside, we have to start recruiting new people, and I think that's one of the things I really would love to see DSA do, Democratic Socialists of America. I'm teetering back and forth on whether or not I'm going to actively join the local chapter, because once I join something, I become super active. Ask the church that I just joined. Y'all might see Ben on a video in the choir stand singing like this, Jesus, because I like to be active. Like, I don't join anything that I'm not going to go all out in. So I've been thinking about whether or not I'm going to join Democratic Socialists of America here in Atlanta. And one of the key things that I would love to see in any chapter, whether it's Atlanta or not, is this organization recruiting people who were apolitical, recruiting people who said that they would never be in politics. That's the new frontier. That's the frontier we have to reach. And until we reach it, we're going to just always be getting angry over the number of ignorant people that vote conservatively, vote for the Republican Party at this point. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Tomorrow is the first of the month. Tomorrow's Friday. More importantly, it's Friday, and so we don't have a show. I'm going to have to do this response to Ben Shapiro as a standalone clip, so it probably will be better, much more well produced, much better produced. This is Ben Shapiro's video of how does he talk? Let's see if I can do this. Was America built on slavery? Something like that. Yeah. Facts don't care about your feelings. So that Looney Tune sounding voice dude, he has a whole video about whether or not America was built on slavery. And so I'm going to do a video response to that, and I'll drop that hopefully over the weekend. Go to patreon.com/the BPD show, because we are all still stuck in this capitalistic system. So I need your individual dollars to compile and help grow a bed of wealth for me, or income for me and the show, so that I don't have to work 30 hours a day. Until we're all free from this capitalistic system, have a great night.
The show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support the Benjamin Dixon Show. If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/the BPD show and support the Benjamin Dixon Show.